Hey everyone, thank you for coming today. Super
Hello,
excited to
Sarah.
be here. Hi,
Yeah, how are you?
all good. Thank you for
Great.
having me today. Yeah.
Great. Here are a few words about you that I want to share with our attendees. Sarah is an SEO consultant and speaker based in Ontario, Canada. She's been doing SEO since 2014. On her website, sarataher.com, she shares that her goal is to craft SEO strategies that are customized to business goals, driving more customers and more conversions. It makes her feel happy to be a part of the success story of many businesses. This really inspires me as well. And guys, I'm sure that with the right approach, everyone can be proud of their business success stories. And that's why we are all here. And I'm pleased to welcome you, Sarah. Here you are. Enjoy the topic, guys.
Hey everyone, thank you for coming. So today I'm gonna talk to you about how to do a content audit. Uh, I'm gonna start with what's a content audit, difference between an audit, a strategy, and a plan, and how to do it. Right. So basically, what we have done for so long in SEO is we would approach any new client that comes to you with we start with a keyword research, like technical audit, keyword research, and then we work from there, right? Well, this is different right now because while keywords are still important and everything, are really important, we need also to focus on entity and topical authority and include things like buyer journey in our content audit. What's a content audit? Basically, a content audit answers three questions. um, think of a content audit as what you do for the CMS from a technical standpoint, but for content. So basically, you're trying to figure out what pages need to be updated, what pages need to be created, and what pages need to go. And by go, I mean low quality pages that need to be removed. So as I mentioned, there are content audits, content strategy, and content plan. How do they fit, and what's the difference? So basically, a content audit is the current state of content, and then what we have right now on our website, what is missing, what's performing, and what's not. A content strategy includes the goals, where we want to take our content, like 30% increase in traffic year over year, for example. That's a content goal, right? And then we also have how to reach those goals. Um, what type of pages do we need to update or create? Top of funnel or a specific topic we need to address first, right? And then the content plan is the day-to-day execution. When are you going to create those pages and when you're going to create update those pages? Like for example, in May we're going to create 5 bottom of funnel pages. In July or in June we're going to create or update X number of pages, and so on. Yeah, one more thing is think of a way to think of this is if you're going on a road trip from Toronto to New York, for example. You're driving all the way from Toronto to New York. A content audit would be you before the road trip doing all the preparation work, checking your car, checking who is gonna come with you from your friends, what do you need to buy, like snacks or stuff, planning what stops are there or what fun things you can do along the way. Are you gonna do hiking? Are you gonna do camping and so on? Packing, what do you need to pack? That sort of thing. So this is the content audit. A content strategy would be the map, the direction you need to follow, and the destination, which is New York, right? And the content plan would be your day-to-day itinerary, what you're gonna do on your first day of the trip. Like for example, you're gonna meet your friend, pick them up, go to a coffee shop, get coffee, and then hit the road. And then 5 hours later, you're going to stop for a barbecue or hiking and so on, right? So that's a way to think of them, those three. So how to do a content audit? First step is to crawl the website. You want to end up with something like this, and some people would pull this data, pull the list of URLs from Google Search Console or from Google Analytics. That's fine. I prefer we go to pull the list of URLs directly from Screaming Frog because you also have the title tags there. right? And at this stage, this is what I like, how I would do it. If you want to do it in other way, that would work as well. So the first thing is you crawl the website and you end up with a clean list like this. Second step is you want to build a content map. Basically, you want to take this list of URLs and divide them into three different types of content: awareness, consideration, and decision. Um, so awareness, think of yourself, you are in the mall, you don't have anything specific you want to buy, you're window shopping. So that's an awareness stage. You have nothing specific on your mind. Let's say the only thing on your mind is that you want to buy something to wear for a wedding, but you don't have anything specific, so you're window shopping. So you don't know what to wear for a wedding at that stage. And then you find a store that you like. For some reason, you step into the store and you start to see what does that store have. So you narrow down your options from the entire mall into a specific store. And now you're looking into that store and what they have. And you entered a store that sells dresses. So you decided, okay, you want to wear a dress and you went into that store. You're not sure which dress, right? So you're still in consideration. And then the decision stage would be you finding one dress or two dresses. Let's say, for simplicity, let's say you find a dress and you say, okay, I want to try that on. And you ask the store assistant to bring you your size and you try it on and then you like it and buy it. And that would be the decision stage. So if you think about it, more people do window shopping than people that go actually inside stores, and then more people go into inside a store but may not end up buying than people who actually buy. In other words, what I want to say is that as you move from top of funnel awareness to the bottom, which is the decision stage, the traffic is less. The keywords or the topics or the blogs you're going to create are going to attract less traffic, but the value increases in terms of conversion, right? So when you have a dress store in the mall, 1,000 people pass by your store every day, right? What's the possibility of these people actually ending up buying from your store? Very less, because by just by checking the store, they won't. From outside, it's very unlikely that they'll just go in and buy something right away. So that's why at this stage the awareness, it's the conversion is very little. Then for out of those 1,000 people, you have like 100 people that come into your store every day, every day to check the dresses you have. What is the possibility of these people ending up to convert and actually buy? It's higher, right? Let's say 50%, which is higher than just window shopping. And then some of those people that come into your store, they look and they leave. They don't ask to try on anything. But then there's those that actually ask to try on something. So let's say out of the 100 people that come into your store, 50 or 60 people or 40 people, for simplicity, 40 people try things on. So out of the 40 people that try things on, you may actually be selling 39 dresses, right? So the conversion rate is higher as you go towards the bottom of the funnel. And this is important for many reasons. First of all, I'm going to explain in the next steps why is this important in content strategy, because when you start working on a content uh, when you start planning your content, you have goals. Like when you meet with a client, they tell you, okay, my goal is to increase traffic by 30% or increase conversions by X%. You need to know where you need to focus your efforts, right? That's one thing. Another thing is that there are you can actually have different conversion metric for each stage. So for example, what the decision stage is, people buying, is obviously the conversion would be a sale. But what about consideration? This can be an ebook download, right? And then awareness can be something like newsletter sign up. So you can count this data, you can collect this data and understand the value that your content is bringing and evaluate it, whether it's successful or not. So you build your content map, you take the list of URLs, and you come up with something like this, right? So for our recipe website, the website we have that we're giving the example about is a website that sells baking supplies and tools. So looking at it, I found that, okay, we have 44 recipes we have 2 guides. And then in the middle, in consideration, we have pros and cons of using, for example, aluminium pans versus a different type of pans. And then you have lists, like, for example, top um, cake decoration tools, for example, or best gifts for bakers, for example, lists, okay? And then the decision stage or the money pages are product pages, product category pages, and brand pages. Brand pages are like any page that is that's going to mainly attract branded traffic. Obviously, all pages can attract branded traffic, but some pages, like the About page, for example, is just made specifically for brand name, right? So, and that's why I want to discuss this thing, and this is always a winner with clients. Um, Bottom of funnel branded keywords. So basically, I had a client, Chromatics, and I searched for their. If you search for their brand name, you find that a lot of people also ask questions in search results are answered by other websites, right? So this is a great opportunity for your business, right? This is an opportunity to collect those branded searches and capture them and increase your impressions in SERPs, right? So this is one thing you can simply offer your client, and most of the clients I met, they like this so much, and I'll explain why is this important. But let's follow with the rest of the different types of buyer journey content. Another thing is bottom of funnel. Another term for that would be product-led SEO. So I have 2 examples here. One is from Zodo, which is a website to convert files to PDF and PDF to other file types. So instead of having like one generic page of convert files to PDF, they have a separate page for each use case, right? Each file type. That's an example, for example, of a bottom of funnel pages, or what we can call money pages. Another example is Idiomatic. If you look at Idiomatic, it's a software, and if you go AI-driven marketing customer intelligence software, but that software has many features, right? What does it do? It does a lot of other things, and so for each of those features, you can actually create a separate page. So you can basically, for a bottom of funnel, you can basically ask yourself, what does your product do in detail, right? Like, try to figure out that and see where you can create pages, use cases, right? Um, another, so a bottom of funnel for e-commerce would be, for example, use cases as well. So obviously all product and category pages naturally are bottom of funnel, but if we want to expand on that and do use cases for an e-commerce website, it can be something like this. Okay, dresses for wedding, dresses for teens, dresses for wedding guests, for prom, for graduation, and so on. Top and middle of funnel. So there are 2 different. I want to mention something here very important. That top and middle of funnel sometimes can be merged and sometimes can be separate. Top of funnel is someone who has no direction, like they know their problem, but they don't know how they want to solve it yet. They know that like they have a wedding, but they don't know what to wear for the wedding. That's the person at that stage. And then the middle of funnel, they know they have a wedding, they know they want a dress, they're just not sure what dress would work for them. So as I said, sometimes you can merge actually top and middle of funnel in the same page. Like you can have a page that's floating or is targeting both top and middle funnel stages. So for dresses, for example, you can have a page for what to wear for a wedding, and then another page for how to choose a dress for a wedding guest, right? And that's one. The first one is the top of funnel, and the second is middle. Some people would actually put all of this in one comprehensive, gigantic guide, what to wear for a wedding, and then for each type of apparel they suggest, like a jumpsuit, for example, then they list all the details about it, and then for a dress they list all the details about it. You can definitely go down that path, and I've seen SEOs do this and are successful, but I personally, I wouldn't prefer to integrate them together into one gigantic 10K blog. We'll get to that, Simona. So yeah, so instead of like having one gigantic blog post, 10K words, I in that situation, and because I feel that those two topics are can be, you know, like a guide of their own. It, it, I think this is, you should separate the intent here, right? One is top of funnel, one is middle of funnel, and it's very subjective, by the way. And another example, which on the contrary, I think they can be mixed together or merged, is surfing workouts, which is top of funnel, and then surfing workout equipment, which is a list of surfing workout equipment, which is middle of funnel. You can actually put both in in one article, right? Um, Again, it's very subjective, but and you'll have your own opinion on this once you start working. Is this a topic you should separate into two separate pages, or this is something you can mix together and create one gigantic, one big, comprehensive, detailed guide? This is like the most important part in that presentation, honestly. Um, So when you meet a client, they'll come to you and they have one or two or more goals, right? Let's say we want 30% increase in traffic, or X% increase in revenue, or I had a client, okay, I want to rank for these specific terms, or in rare situations, if you're working with a big company and they have a branding team, the branding team may come and say, okay, our own goals for our branding team is having that, and we want the support of organic channel on this, is having brand awareness, increase the brand awareness. So for each of those goals, obviously I'm not, you have to measure a lot of matrix, right? But what is the most if I had to choose one metric to measure to represent that goal, I would choose, for example, for traffic, I would choose organic clicks from Google Search Console. If for revenue, I would like to choose, for example, organic conversions. Rankings, obviously, it's rankings, and brand awareness, I would go to organic impressions and organic clicks, right? And then tactics, right? There are basic tactics for each of those goal types. I'm not saying that other tactics should not be used. Like, so for example, for the traffic, increased traffic, you need to create an update top and middle of funnel pages, right? These are the pages with the most traffic and they'll bring you a lot of traffic. But does that mean you need to ignore bottom of funnel pages? No, but I'm saying for this specific goal, this is the best thing that's going to get you the results you want. And then we have a generic tactic that you need to do whatever your goal is, which is removing dead weight pages. This, for any goal, this is something you need to do. Okay, so increasing revenue, obviously you need to focus on bottom of funnel pages. Again, this does not mean you're not going to be creating top or middle of funnel pages, but when we talk about increasing revenue, this is the most impactful tactic. Increase in rankings, then we're going to talk about and communicate our requirements to the client with topic clusters and internal linking. And then awareness, with brand awareness, would be top of funnel pages, and then people also asked that, as the example I gave earlier. So now you have your content map ready. You know what types of content you have, and you have an estimate of how many pieces of content you have on each type. If your website is gigantic and you have like 1 million pages, you won't be able to do this that simply, and that's okay. All you need is just like a high level number, an estimate, just an understanding of what's happening there. Okay. So the second step is creating a topical map. So this is a very simple topical map for a small website. Basically, okay, this is a baking supplies website. What are the topics related to this issue? We have baking recipes, and then cake, chocolate cake, frostings, and so on. And then we have baking tools, and then a list of baking tools. These are like all the not all, some of the related topics. And obviously we can expand on this topical map a lot. And then one thing, if your website, again, is gigantic, like if you're, for example, a website, financial website that compares credit cards, mortgages, loans, and so on, this is like a very, very big topic. Or a telehealth website with tons of like type of doctors, for example. Again, this is like a very big topic. It's going to be a very big topical map. So you basically need to, you can actually do a collection of small topical maps. Like you don't need to list every single topic out there in this map. Ideally, you should just list enough for you to start. um, and also while building this, so you analyze what you have, but you also need to look at competitors, go to check their navigation and see how they structured their websites and what type of content they have there. You can also brainstorm to find missing related topics that can be added. um, so basically, you need, at this stage, you need to understand what are the topics you should have on your website, and out of those topics, what you actually have and what you don't. And I like this part because a topical map helps you achieve topical authority, right? So, for example, if you're talking about baking tools, you need to cover or talk about the list of baking tools, like every single tool that is a baking tool you need to talk about, right? You cannot achieve topical authority without covering a specific set of information on your website. The thing is, what I often hear is that, what if you have like this innovative, crazy product that, when you search for it, you don't have any keyword data or search volume, and a lot of people would turn down clients and tell them SEO is not for you. While SEO can definitely be not for some businesses, I agree with that. um, it doesn't, if your product is innovative, it does not mean that SEO is not right for you. Here is why. So, for example, let's assume you are the first person on earth to create an electric car. If you go to SEMrush or Serpstat or any keyword research tool and plug in electric cars, you will get zero search volume if you're the first person ever. And an example of this that happened with me recently is ChatGPT. Like last month, earlier this month, actually, I checked one of the keyword research tools for ChatGPT keyword volume, and it was like 10 or something, which is basically ridiculous because this, obviously, the demand and the volume was much higher. So from what I want to say is that you may not find the search volume you want. So what do? You say, okay, electric cars, what is my electric car good for? Is it good for car acceleration? Good for like other things? As I said earlier, ask yourself, what is your product? What does your product do in detail? Electric cars are known to have better acceleration, better car gas cost, low maintenance. So maybe these are topics you can actually talk about and then plug in your electric cars there, right? Talk about your electric cars in there. So, and these topics exist and they're established. They have traffic. You can understand what's going on, and you need to incorporate them in your topical map, right? um, I had someone come up to me recently and said, okay, what if I want to sell bikes that you can ride a bike, you can ride on water, which doesn't exist, obviously, but he's just giving a hypothetical situation. How would you approach, how do you create a topical map out of that? And the answer for that is, okay, maybe this is like an adventure sport, and adventure sports do exist, right? The keyword exists, the topic exists, so maybe water sports actually as well. A lot of things you can talk about, even for a product that is purely innovative, new to the market. Okay, so you have your content map, you have your topical map. Step 4 is to pull all the data from Search Console and Search Console and GA for the website URLs, right? Why do you need to do this? You need to do this to prioritize content and find deadweight pages. As we said, we are going to be updating some pages and creating other pages. So for the creating part, we have passed that. Like this would be in the topical map or in the buyer journey, the content map. But what pages do we need to update? This would be based off this data, and you can set your own criteria. For deadweight pages, for example, this is always, someone was asking how to get client buy-in for a content strategy. This is actually super effective. I've used it before. Once you show people that in this situation, for example, I put a criteria. What is a dead page? What is a dead weight page? It's a page that did not get more than 60 impressions in the last 6 months. 60 impressions means 10 impressions on search, which is obviously useless. And for that website, that specific example I'm talking about in that slide, there was over 1,500 pages that had less than 60 impressions on Google. And that shows your client that how useless or how unoptimized the content they're creating is. And it helps them understand that they need to pivot and adjust and follow a strategy, a data-driven strategy, right? So, and then you can actually, and the power of that is if you calculate the percentage, right? Like how many dead pages out of the overall website pages. In our case, it's like 80%, which is huge, right? So talking with data that shows that this is not effective at any level, like awareness. Obviously, if you're not getting traffic, you're not getting anything, any of the goals we were talking about. Um, so yeah, so you pull the data, you get your dead weight pages. You can also sort pages by impressions, for example, or by transactions, right? So we can sort pages by impressions, because the higher impressions a page have, the more potential it has to rank in SERPs if it's optimized. And then also if a page is getting a lot of transactions, that is potentially that's a good page to optimize as well and try to bring more traffic to. One thing to take into consideration here is that we usually talk about organic traffic, but sometimes, or I like, generally speaking, to also, before suggesting to remove any pages, to look at all like traffic from all search from all other channels, because you don't want to recommend removing a page that is getting regular social traffic, for example, right? So that's something to keep in mind. You'll definitely need to review this list of deadweight pages before you send to the client and get client approval. And like, you need to have a process established there, so you are sure that you're not removing any pages that you shouldn't. And then now you have a list of prioritized pages by impressions or by transactions, or maybe by both. And then you can decide based on a lot of the things we said which pages you need to optimize first. And that's our next step would be here, keyword research. Um, so what you want to do is, you done all the work. Now you have some sort of direction. Okay, let's say you want to do keyword research for chocolate cake. I found this graph on Mihir Nike website. It's a really great website, and the guy has a lot of great content. So the link is, I added the link to the graph there if you want to check it out. Um, but this is one of the most descriptive ways or comprehensive uh, infographics out there talking about keyword research. Basically, you're going to plug your keyword in, and one good thing also is that before doing that process, if you wanted to do keyword research, you would have been really lost. Like, what keywords? Like, if you're doing, let's say you're selling shoes, like, are you gonna do shoe guides, or you're gonna like go after like buy shoes online in Canada, like the diversity of keywords out there related to shoes, or shoes versus sandals for beach weddings, or like there's tons of things and tons of keywords related to shoes, right? It's gigantic. And if like the times I try to start keyword research first with a new client, it like you feel there's so much information out there, and okay, which keyword, like I want to come back with somewhere to start, and it has to make sense. And if you do this work first, if you get your buyer's journey, topical map, search Google Analytics and Search Console data first, and all the things we discussed first, you will find that you have some direction now. Like, you say, okay, I want to create bottom of funnel pages, and I want to go after a topic like, we're talking about shoes, bottom of funnel pages. Maybe I would go for shoes for, and then a use case, right? Shoes for weddings, shoes for etc. Right? So and then so basically, you'll plug your keyword or the main keyword in a keyword research tool. And you also do competitor research and see what competitors for that topic or that keyword are ranking for. You also use data from Google Search Console. Another source of keywords that is often missed is PPC data. Always ask your client for PPC data. The reason for that is you get really valuable insights on what keywords are performing and what's not. Then you can check people also ask tool, uh, Google auto suggest, obviously Serpstat, and then we also have we go to the SERPs and check Google. People also ask on Google itself. And then you come up with a big list of keywords, right? Okay. And from there, you can also select the keywords that you're gonna track to measure your performance against, right? So let's take that example. That's a topical map for a road trip website, and then analyze keywords by topic. So again, you would say, okay, road trip, we have places, we have guides. Um, okay, where do I want to start? Let's say, and you can actually, and the good thing is you can actually check a lot of these quickly in any SEO tool and say, okay, this has more potential, or this is going to bring more value. This has a higher search volume if you're after search volume. So you can actually check those quickly. And maybe you would say, okay, I'm going to go after vehicles. And then, okay, what can we talk about vehicles? And then you can break that down in other subtopics and then target a topic, right? So you need to find a topic. Where to start, you need to find a topic with more value as per your business goals. And then you can, as I said, do your keyword research and create a list of keywords about that specific topic. So your final step is to create your content plan. If you remember, that was the itinerary, like how you're going to execute when, in what month. And I'm going to show you that right now. But first, again, we need to touch base here again on the content strategy table. So you have all the data. Now you know what topics you need to go after. You know what pages you need to create or update. And then you know what pages you need to remove based off your criteria. That's how your content plan should look like. You should divide your website by content type and then say, okay, service pages, for example, or product pages. So service pages, obviously if you're selling a service or maybe a SaaS, but or service pages if you're selling a service. So or if you're an e-commerce, it would be a product page or a product category page. You can, from there, you can just decide, okay, I'm going to update and create 5 in July. In August, I'm going to do this in September. And, now you have a very clear understanding. And one more thing is that you need to, while creating this final content plan, you need to take into consideration the resources the client has. So the client, for example, can only create or update like 3 pages per month. That's how you're going to, that's your content budget, and that's how you want to plan accordingly. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you, and I think it's time for questions.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah, for your presentation. It's like comprehensive guide for content audit. Thank you. So I just wanted to remind our attendees that we will have a Q&A session soon, so don't miss the opportunity. Text your questions to the chat. And Sarah, let's start with the questions from the list where our attendees, our registered participants sent us before via forms and
Thanks, guys.
emails.
Thanks, everyone. Sure. Can we
So,
start with the ones in the comments since they are here?
sure, let's start.
Okay, so someone is asking what should be included in a content audit report. So if I were you, I would create all of this. I would create a content map by buyer journey and explain the value and maybe add a metric how to measure for each. Or if they don't have, like, if they don't have a email sign up or something to download, maybe this is something you can actually suggest. I would also add a topical map. I would show what competitors' topical map look like and compare it to what we have right now on our website. I would show, okay, the strategy and where we are and what our goals are and where we want to go and how. Like I would literally take each step of this presentation and convert it into a couple of slides and that with the data of my own website.
Okay, thank you. So let's start the list with the question, how to convince a client that they need an audit?
How to convince a client. So client relationships are very tricky, and they usually have met with a lot of SEOs, right? And what you can say, what you can talk to them is talk with business value. That's the best thing you can do, right? And that's what we're trying to do here. Tell them, okay, we can. What's your business goals? And I will generate a report for you that shows you how to get there. That's the best way to get buy-in and show them also. For example, if you do a quick dead weight report on their website and show them what the amount of pages that are not getting any traffic, and if we do an audit now, you will be able to fix that and create more optimized content that actually brings business value.
Yeah, great. And how do you balance the SEO and the CRO recommendations so that your audited client get the most out of it?
Yeah, this is really nice. That's why we have the buyer journey and we have the strategy table, right? You need to talk about these two things and be very clear, and you need to see what other conversions are there for each channel. And if I were you, I would check other websites, other competitors, and see what conversions or leads they're collecting, and try and give ideas to my client, right? And there's tons of, like, for example, one thing I would do, maybe we have pop up on exit and collect people's emails, for example, right? So you need always to include that inside your content strategy.
Okay, it makes sense. Thank you. And one more question. What is the right type of content for a middle of funnel for a B2B company?
Well, lists and comparisons, these are always winners. I would look for case studies, like look for if there's any potential, use keyword data to get ideas, not necessarily follow them. But I basically, the best thing are comparisons and are lists.
Okay, great. So looks like we covered all the questions from the list. So let's turn to the questions in the chat. And here is the question from Yulia. Is artificial intelligence able to play a role in this process? You mentioned that.
Of course, that's an awesome question. You can easily use ChatGPT to get related topics to the topic you're talking about. Obviously, you'll not limit yourself to ChatGPT. You'll use other sources as well, but definitely you can do a lot of things there. Generate topic ideas for middle of funnel or top of funnel for a specific topic as well, for example, right? So definitely, yeah.
Yeah, great, great. Thank you. And I'll also remind you all, guys, that Serpstat can speed up keyword research as well as generate some content with AI content tools in there. Just let you know. And
That's cool, by the way. That's great. I mean, you make it simpler.
yeah, yeah, great. And the question from Hrihori, do you have to conduct a content audit on a regular basis? If so, how often?
So usually I do it when I start working with a new client. That's a place to start. And then once you every 6 months, or once your content plan is done and you need a new content plan, then you need to do it again, right?
Okay, so that's all. We've covered all our questions. Sarah, would you like to add or highlight anything else before wrapping up?
I think there was just one more question there. Yeah, Simona was asking if there's some sort of a golden ratio between branded versus non-branded organic traffic that we should aim for. Um, and honestly, ideally, you should have more non-branded traffic versus branded traffic. And if you and you have a strong brand, like even like, but like that's in a perfect world. But I would just try to focus on non-branded keywords. That's because at the end of the day, branded traffic, you're going to capture them easily. So I would definitely try to focus on the non-branded.
Great, thank you. Thank you guys for the questions. And we have one more question. The website is not in English, unfortunately. Are there any pointers I should be looking at?
Yeah, I first of all make sure that your website is indexed correctly and the pages are accessible. I would start there. And I would look at competitors' websites and see what I'm missing out on. But I first would start with the technical part, because if you're only ranking for one keyword, you may have indexability issues or crawlability issues to begin with. Or maybe it's just a brand new website and you need some backlinks as well. But yeah.
Okay, thanks. And for now, I can't see any more questions. Thank you very much. Sarah, would you like to add? Okay, one more question from Irina. Can it be applied to a website that publishes news and content articles? Which approach is best in this case?
That's actually a perfect question. This is why the strategy table we have has a goal, a separate goal as traffic, because someone would say, why would I just want traffic? I always want revenue. But what about news websites? They want traffic, right? They want to attract people. They're not selling anything. So definitely, yes, it definitely applies there.
Great. And one more time, I'll ask you if you have anything to add or highlight before we wrap up.
I think I'm good for me. If anyone has any questions, they can definitely follow up on LinkedIn. And you can sign up to my newsletter on my website, sara-taher.com. And thank you so much, guys, for being here today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Lastly, I'd like to remind our attendees to follow Sarah's and Serpstat social media and check out our future webinars and join Serpstat chat on Twitter. And this one is not a voice chat. We are texting through tweets in real time. We discuss all things related to digital marketing and in particular SEO. There is an area where you can ask us your experts questions about a featured topic. Also, you can share your expertise there. We host the Serpstat chat regularly on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. In a moment, I'll leave the link in the chat to the Google Calendar. One moment. Here's it. So, and this Thursday, the topic will be SEO and user experience, how they work together. We'd love to have you in search the chat as well. Sarah, thank you a lot for sharing your time and knowledge today. And I appreciate you guys watching, asking questions. You are all amazing. Thank you very much. Have a great day and week, guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at our future online events. Uh, See you. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here today.